Hello, folks. This is another quick video. It's raining like fuck in New York right now, but I want to have a conversation about something that has been bugging me for the past. I don't know. It's just a pattern I've noticed, and that is people saying like, "Well, the U.S. political culture is, how can I say, lack for a better term? U.S. political culture is toxic and." It's that way on both sides. Now, first off, that sort of thinking, I never understood. I don't know where the fuck the both sides thing comes from, to be honest. Um, for me, it just doesn't make sense when you say U.S. political culture is toxic on both sides, unless you're discussing, liberals versus conservatives. Unless that's the conversation we're having, maybe then I can say that. But again, liberals aren't necessarily leftists. You have some left-leaning liberals, but they're not necessarily leftists. But if you want to say that's both sides, it's fine. I don't really like when people use the term both sides. It just doesn't make sense to me because it implies a lot of political ignorance. Because usually people who say that, it's like they don't understand the political going-ons of what's happening around them. So I get it. People want to live their lives and do whatever. They don't want to think about politics all the time. That's fine. That's okay. I understand that. But usually when I'm hearing that discussion, I feel like it's coming from that place where there is a sort of ignorance of the political situations around them. And I know some people will argue, some of it is pretty privileged because, of course you have the luxury to not think about what is happening around you compared to other people. But yeah, it's a weird notion that I've seen for the past couple of days now. I see it a lot in Reddit forums and certain places I've been at where they say like, "Oh well, the politically toxic, both sides," and I'm like, what? I never understood it. It's just weird to me because it's like we can have discussions about if it's both sides or not. I don't like doing the balance fallacy, to be honest, because I think it's dumb and I think it's a really moronic trick that political centrists use, because I feel like it's a justification for certain policies, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're centrist, even though we believe in upholding the ideological systemic framework of capitalism. That doesn't really make you a centrist. You're still a capitalist. It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh well, I'm a centrist. Not really. What would be a true centrist position is if you were neither capitalist. I don't know. It's just a thought. That's just kind of, I don't know. It just maybe, but even then, that's a bit, yeah. So the framework doesn't make a whole lot of sense, politically. And yeah, it is raining like crazy in New York City, in New York today. It's like it's freaking Matrix Revolutions outside. But if you hear the rain in the background, but yeah, it's a thought that I've had for the past couple of days now. And it's just been annoying me, because I've gotten people saying, well, there's toxic and American thing, politics going on both sides. And I'm like, what the fuck when people use both sides, it's like a anathema. You know what it is for me, though? It's a lack of people coming to grips that the right wing in this country is basically going like ape. And it's a way to sort of provide cover for them. Like, I don't know. It feels like a way for them to provide cover for them. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to come to grips that the conservatives in this country are basically kind of losing it. And becoming more far right. And it's almost like a way to sort of like play it out to be like, oh well, it's both sides. And then there's quote unquote reasonable adults. And it's like, I don't know where the reasonable adults are. They're kind of upholding capitalism and doing like things like, I don't know what's reasonable about not providing families with aid and care, but giving the military budget $3 trillion every year. I don't know. It kind of adds up to like $1 trillion every year, but 3.5 trillion to help other people. It's like, oh no, we can't do that because reasons. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that's a grown-up adult political decision-making decision, you know? I feel like that's kind of a bit of a Ponzi scheme. So, I mean, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like someone is selling me something. Like they're selling me a pyramid scheme, um, a political pyramid scheme at that, to justify, neoliberalism, um, current neoliberal practices. So, it always baffled me, especially in American politics, where people use the term both sides. It's like, it doesn't really mean anything. And you know what? Half the time, when you bring up ethical questions, when you bring up moral questions or moral philosophical questions, these people are completely vapid. What I mean by that is, like, they don't have anything, right? They can mask it politically, but they can't mask it morally because cat's out of the bag. When you see it from a moral point of view, it starts revealing the cracks more so than anything, and it shows how bankrupt the whole thing is. So for me, I don't know. U.S. culture, yeah, there are issues going on in U.S. culture that you can say is toxic, but liberal versus conservative, you can say there's that going on. Yada 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 yada. Okay, fine, cool. You know, whatever. But I don't know, to make the point about both sides and not like notice that the right in this country are like going off the cliff at this point is a bit. I mean, there's a level of ignorance there, and a very much lack of understanding of what's happening around you. To even say like both sides, I mean, it's just absurd. So anyhow, that was a quick video I wanted to make because it's something that's been bothering me, where people keep bringing up both sides, and it's like, especially with this current political fight currently in the United States currently over the infrastructure, it's the same bullshit. It's the same crap. And I feel like these guys are just, I mean, these guys are basically just running a Ponzi scheme at this point. And, an ideological pyramid scheme to sort of justify and maintain the corporate oligarchical structure and patronage system that we have in this country. It's a way of justifying it. I don't know how Kristen Sinema is being a moderate because she takes corporate money. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? I mean, it's kind of like, well, she's a moderate. Why? Because she takes corporate money? She takes money from big corporations to not raise taxes? It's kind of an ideological position. I don't know how that's a moderate position. That's an ideological position. It's pure capitalism. It's basically saying we want to basically have maximized profits no matter what. We don't care about our employees and labor. It's about maximizing and having, the fantasy of infinite growth, which is that's also an ideological position as well. Infinite growth is an ideological position. So to act like that it's not, I mean, that's the thing about neoliberalism. Neoliberalism or capitalism tries to present itself as it is somehow a natural thing, and it's not something human beings made up 400 years ago. Rich landowners made up to justify why they want to keep their things. But I digress. It's a thing that I just don't like, because I feel like it just provides. There's too much providing cover for the right in the United States. Too much. Even when they do the most dumbest crap that I've seen, like the media tries way too hard to cover for them, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? And it made sense for decades. We're just being nudged and nudged along to for the right to go that way. So, years of media organizations like MSNBC, CNN, way more so CNN, of playing like devil's advocate every fucking time. It's like, no, guys, they're fucking wrong. Stop playing this devil's advocate shit with these people. What they say is factually wrong. Okay? And we're just going to play devil's advocate with them. But when it comes to any sort of left-wing pushback, then they go to fact check and say, oh, well, the leftist position is wrong. But you guys just allowed these right-wing folks at Cato and AEI to fucking spill bullshit on your news channels. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous to me, and it's just like, come on now. I mean, come on. I mean, what are we doing? You know, and comments like these, when they say like, "Oh, playing on both sides," when people say that, I don't blame it on the fault of the person. At that point, that's because of U.S. media. You know, we've been bombarded for decades, U.S. media, about there's both sides to stuff, and people have basically internalized it. So, you know, what are you gonna do? So, yeah, leave it there, and you have a nice day. Well, this day's gonna be shit, but hopefully people can have a nice day today wherever you're at watching the video, because you guys probably have nicer weather than I'm at right now. But yeah, peace out.